Tony's father has been away a long time. Now, he's coming home. XTRO has returned. Once a man, he is now something more than human. Indestructible, ever-changing, evil.
Hello everybody, and welcome to my channel. When it comes to films, every once in a while you're going to find some real hidden gems. XTRO is a movie that I had heard a lot of mention of, but I had never thought much of it. I mean, just look at the cover for this thing. It's got that cartoony UFO and this very generic looking 80s B-movie monster. But I did decide after all to check XTRO out, and what I got was something that really surprised me. XTRO is something that can best be described as a sci-fi horror B-movie. It was originally released in the UK in 1982, and a month later was released in the US. This is a movie that manages to be very strange, yet the plot is still very easy to follow. The movie starts with Sam and his son Tony playing outside when a giant flash appears in the sky and Sam is abducted by aliens. So we're starting with aliens right off the bat. There is no hesitation. 3 years pass with Tony and his mother Rachel never knowing what happened to Sam. Sam returns home in the form of an alien and impregnates a woman through the mouth in order to give birth to his human form. Yes, that does happen. He then returns home, which only leads to conflict as Rachel now has a new boyfriend who is kind of a dick. Sam then grants his son with alien-like powers that kind of forms this bond between them. And that is as far as I wish to go with the plot of this movie. XTRO is a film that is very unsettling. That's probably the most simple way to put it. I would not call it scary. I don't think there's many horror movies that really manage to scare me, but it's without a doubt a creepy movie. It really has everything you could ever want from a horror movie. It's not just aliens, but you also have the all-powerful evil little kid. You've got this giant killer doll, and of course, an evil midget clown. I love it when a horror movie is shamelessly able to go all out. XTRO is great in that sense. The kid's alien powers consist of just being able to imagine something, and it comes to life. The movie manages to have like a lot of fun with this idea as the kid's able to bring his toys to life and use them as weapons. And that results in a lot of surreal imagery. There's a lot of stuff in this movie that you won't see anywhere else. There's a certain scene in which he brings his toy soldier to life and suddenly it's huge and he uses it to kill his neighbor that he hates. And the way the doll moves is really unsettling and has this kind of like mechanical look to it, like it's a automaton or something. All of the stuff involving the aliens in this movie is disgusting and hard to watch. It has this really like grimy, sleazy, gross feel just to make the audience feel uncomfortable. And it plays around a lot with the idea of the alien biology in the same way that Alien did. I guess you could kind of say that this movie is a ripoff of Alien in that sense, but I think the way it's done here is extremely well executed and very creative. Also, there's this like super creepy imagery towards the end that just kind of sticks with me where the dad is an alien again and he's holding his son's hand and the alien just kind of has this like skull-like look to it. It's hard to describe, but it is something that's sure to send chills up your spine. There are some amazing effects in this film for being such a cheap movie. Now, as someone who finds aliens very interesting, I don't know why you wouldn't. I am someone who finds scary aliens to be the best kind of aliens. I've always liked the idea of what seems normal to an alien is disgusting and creepy to us. It's very similar to how we find something like bugs or sea life to be disgusting, but to them it's perfectly natural. This is a movie that does not explain itself to the audience. We don't really understand the biology of the alien or the powers of them. Some people really prefer like an explanation when it comes to horror, but I'm someone who likes stuff left more vague, and aliens are probably the best example of what you should be leaving vague in a horror movie. But I think that's really something that all comes down to your preferred taste in horror. I like that this film is really like a combination of both E.T. and Alien. It's not a clear comparison, but you can spot out like little similarities here and there. The synth score in this movie is also great. I mean, I think everyone loves a good synth score, but it's really excellent here and really helps the movie feel creepier despite being so cheap. This is a movie that feels very condensed. It's not too complicated, and there are a lot of little things that pay off later on. I can't say that everyone will be satisfied with this movie's ending, but I will just say that it doesn't end happy. But despite that, it still manages to leave a creepy impression on you. I think an unsatisfying ending is what may turn a lot of people off to a movie like this. Critics really hated this movie back when it was first released, and since then it's become kind of a cult classic. While I wouldn't consider XTRO to be a masterpiece, I do think some critics went a bit too far with their criticisms. Roger Ebert probably had the most complaints about this movie, as he called it an ugly, mean-spirited, and despairing thriller. He also said it was made by incompetent cynics. And he also went as far as calling it a movie that gives movies a bad name. Now, there's nothing wrong with not liking a movie or even hating one, but that felt like it went a bit too far. At least back in the 80s, I think like a lot of critics kind of had this idea that a movie should leave you feeling good, and I don't really believe in that. I think it's actually alright if a movie feels extremely nihilistic and makes you feel kind of ugly inside. It's one of those things where it all depends on the director's vision and what they're trying to achieve. XTRO is a horror movie that wants its audience to feel disgusted and uncomfortable, and does a very good job at that.
The idea of the film was to do the most disgusting things that we could possibly get away with. And if I'd had it my way, they would have been more disgusting.
Not everyone is going to see XTRO the same way, but it's one of those things where not everyone is going to see a piece of art the same way either. Now, maybe comparing XTRO to art isn't a fair comparison, but whatever, it works. And a flat-out nihilistic ending is always a lot more interesting to me than one of those like fake-out horror endings they always do. XTRO is a movie that I really enjoy just for the overall strangeness of it, just for the fact that it exists. I would recommend this strongly to horror buffs who can withstand creepy, unsettling, and disgusting films. If you are not a horror fan, probably stay far away from XTRO. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.
There's nothing to it at all. It's rubbish.